land in Nairobi has appreciated differently. So, for example, an acre of land in Upper Hill has appreciated at a different rate from an acre of land in, let's say, Kangemi. So you do not apply standard rate structure. Otherwise, some people will end up paying so much. So we have a new valuation role that will bring more people onto the role, and the more money we have, then the less the need to increase the amount. However, traditionally, we've had people in our old valuation role. Some are good in paying their land rates every year. Others need to be pushed. Others wait for a waiver. You know, every year people wait to hear waiver, waiver, waiver. This year there'll be no waiver. The waiver basically is to say that from your principal that you owe for this year and the principal for last year, there is a penalty in terms of interest that is charged. That interest is usually what is waived. But the principal, the current principal and the arrears principal still has to be paid. So what we are telling Nairobians is, please settle. We are not going to give a waiver this financial year. What instead we want is to encourage people to pay their principals. There are organizations, landowners, individual homeowners, building owners who have accumulated these arrears, these land rates for years. And those are the ones that we are saying that effective today, we are going to clamp buildings. When I say clamp, you know, clamp is a word that is used for clamping a vehicle that has not paid. But in land rates parlance, it's basically saying that from that today we are going to take over collection of rent in that building until we have recovered what is due to us. Once we have recovered, if you owe us 500,000, your tenants have paid us 500,000, you continue with it. So we are just there temporarily to push compliance. And really, it's not necessary for us to reach here, but where we are not finding responsiveness, that is what has forced us to go this direction. We tried it recently with outdoor advertising. There are companies that rake in a lot of money from multinational advertisers, but they were not remitting to the county. And because the law allows us, we entered what is known as an agency notice, where we went to the banks of these outdoor advertisers and to the clients and said, pay your money directly to the county. It had a phenomenal response. Everybody suddenly realized that they were able to comply. And so we collected our revenue from outdoor advertising, and we have told them this is how we want to maintain it. So the same goes with land rates. Historically, whenever we've had such an exercise of clamping buildings, we've had very positive response. This year, we have collected about 2.8 billion shillings in land rates, which is good, but way below our target. And we are very confident that if we begin the campaign now, for the remaining few days to the end of the year, we might get a bump. But for the beginning of the new financial year, which starts on July 1st, that impact of this campaign should sustain us really, even for the first quarter. We expect to see a huge increase in our rates income. The target is 4.5 billion. We have not increased it. You will realize that what is paid in land rates in Nairobi is very minimal. It's very minimal. You'll find somebody with an acre of land in a very prime area has to pay something like 200,000 shillings. It's not punitive. It's not the kind of rate that would make you say, I would rather even forfeit this land because it is hasara to me. No, it is not. It is usually quite reasonable, and many people comply. So when you talk about tough economic times, we have really not increased. It's just your obligation. And you cannot buy land for 60 million shillings and then fail to pay the county 100,000 shillings. You know, that is paradoxical, isn't it? That you are able to spend 60 million to buy land and then the little land rates of 100,000 shillings would be a problem.